Hello, Jean. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. Hi, good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening, morning.
Yeah,
Good international time zone today.
Yeah.
that's right.
Right.
So Gary just had a haircut.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Right. Hello, Michael. Welcome to
Tell
join
by
us.
the shine.
All right.
Hello,
Um,
Michael.
Hey, how are you guys?
awesome. Hey,
Good.
man.
Welcome,
Good to
Hey,
see
welcome.
you back.
sorry, I'm on no video. I'm not presentable yet this morning.
Oh.
So,
Some would say
Oh,
we're not either.
oh yeah, really? Like we have a choice? I didn't know that.
Thanks for being here, man. Okay, I'm just gonna do the stream to the page, to the group. So you go ahead,
All
boss.
right. So, so everybody knows that this is kind of open conversation, and I know we got a lot of questions about Thursday's live stream is in regards to taking action and what that actually means. Over the years, it's it's kind of a term that's been hijacked, and I'm along with a lot of other things where we are talking about the fact that everybody's just getting these little pieces, and it reminds me of like when research comes out um, on particular vitamins or herbs or whatever, and all of a sudden, this is the cure all. This is this one piece. This is all you need, and this is going to wipe out your whatever. And personal growth is kind of the same thing. It's like all you got to do is take action. It's like, well, is it really just all you have to do? All you have to do is have a positive attitude. Well, okay, but isn't there more? All you have to do is think about what you want. This is my kind of my hang up when the book the Secret came out, is that everybody saw this not for what it was, but more for, oh, that's easy. That's simple. I'm going to distill this down. So all I have to do is sit on the couch and think about stuff. And it's like, no. And I mean, I'm serious. I've ran into a ton of people who thought this, and it's just like, no, there's a lot more to it. It's like, well, but it's not really in the book. It's like, well, just because it's a book doesn't mean it's complete. I mean, it really opened the doors for a lot of people, but what they took from it was a very, very, very distilled down idea of what needs to be done to to better manifest whatever it is that you would like in your life. And I'm not exaggerating. I literally had conversations with people who um, literally thought you could just sit on your couch and think about it, and that was it. I'm like, well, it just doesn't quite work that way. And when we take all these pieces and put them together, and finalize that whole puzzle, then you'll see a huge difference.
Yeah, and I think that, I think that it's the
Hi, Barbara.
hey Barb, hey Heather came in
Hi,
too.
Heather.
I think that there is an element of, for lack of sounding harsh, an element of ignorance in that, in that it's not necessarily, because I think that we are powerful enough that at some level, the projection of thought can be clear enough to manifest the things that we want. That's my belief.
Correct.
But the reality is that very few of us have that level of focus and power and intention. And so, if you go from, like no experience in the realm of, or even little experience in the realm of meditation and focus and being in the now and all the things we talk about, if those things are not in alignment, if there's no consistency of beingness, and then you go out and you're trying to project those realities, well, the matrix is saying, whatever, you're like this, you're all over the place, buddy, and so therefore it's confused, right? It's confused of what it is that it should be creating for you. And in marketing, we say that a customer who's confused doesn't make a decision. Right? The universe is no different. If it's confused about what it is you want, it's not going to make a decision. So you wonder why it doesn't show up. And then, because the mind is not properly trained or properly tuned, if it doesn't show up the way you want, the time you want, then there's a part of the mind that's more consistent, more congruent with the unreality of things, like, oh man, why isn't this happening? And it goes into the wrong thought sequence.
Or this doesn't work, whatever. And it goes back to what we did when we were talking about the 5G network, of what are you actually sending out? And this is where many people kind of miss the boat to a big degree, not even to a certain degree, to a big degree, is that they are, the example that I gave on Thursday was like, I want to manifest money because, oh, gosh, I'm so broke. I need it so badly. Okay, well, the energy in that statement is the emotion.
Foundation of the energy, right?
Yeah,
The
thank you.
foundation of that energy.
Thank you. The and is that I need it so badly because I'm so broke. In other words, I don't have it. And that is the energy, that's the vibration that is actually being transmitted out. And the I need money, or I want wealth is really kind of a, yeah, okay. But the what I don't have, the lack, is the part that is really being transmitted out, because that's the part that the emotion is really attached to. The energy is attached to that part of the statement. And again, this is where we go back to the book The Secret, and a lot of these other manifesting techniques. Is that's the part where they're really missing. I sat down and had, well, I've done one or two interviews with Michael Loger. Are you familiar with him, Gary? He's up there in your area. Really nice guy. And now he wrote the book Law of Attraction. And we sat down for a good long time. We just had lunch here in Seattle, and he, and this was a long time ago. I mean, he's got it down very well. And this is where he kind of taught me more the idea, the energy of being that which you want. So that is what you're projecting out. You are, the wealth. You are the type of lifestyle you're looking for. You're not, but you're not living in a lie. There's, there's a term that says "fake it till you make it," and that just sends chills up my spine, because your mind is kind of like, well, I'm really successful, but actually it's kind of going, well, not really. That's really, you don't have that congruency between the two. And so where, when you say I attract things, I attract wealth, I attract happiness, I attract love, you do, because you can find examples of it that are true to form in parts of your life.
And I think that's the part, right? I mean, the fake it till you make it model, really, I think, has an implied message in there that you should look at those things that you do have to get that result, and build on that. Correct. As opposed to coming from a place of void. Right. Exactly. And because the reality is, if you don't have a particular resource or believe you have a particular resource, what you need to do is you need to find evidence of you actually having it. So, and then
Correct.
building on that,
Mhm.
right? And so that's where the fake it till you make it really comes from is, so for example, confidence, right? Well, you know, if you don't think you have confidence, it's not that you don't have confidence, it's that you don't have confidence in that particular scenario, situation, or event, right? Because everybody's confident that, you know, they'll when they put their feet on the ground when they get out of bed, there'll be a floor there. There's confidence there, right? So building on that confidence and then and developing that and then applying that to an area where you don't have it, doesn't mean you're coming from void. You're just taking a resource and realigning it in a way that's going to be more productive for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey,
Does there,
so I
anybody have
think
questions on this where we're
Yeah,
going
go ahead,
with this?
Michael.
yeah, I think I've participated with this group one time many moons ago. I stumbled across somewhere on Facebook this new little Zoom meeting thing every Saturday morning. I thought, yeah, that resonates. Let's jump on that. And crazy stuff's happened in my life. Just following some really interesting um, things that have been presented up by
Hmm.
the universe. I think that when
Nice.
you're in the right state, you know that um,
100%.
for me, it has been, there are times that just don't take any action and I sit on the couch for a long period of time because I know that my vibration and my mindset's not right to go out there and start taking action. Now, I think that there's another methodology for this too, is if you go out and take massive action, if you and you're not ready, you're not in the vibration, there's nothing wrong or bad about that. You just have to be prepared for the collateral damage
Exactly.
that you're going to do inside your own world, taking massive action. If you wanted to be in a business relationship with this one person and it's been an obsession of yours for X number of years or something, and you're just going to go for it and you're not in alignment, you're not in vibration, and you can't see it actually being there, and you force it with a ton of action, you could sabotage it and that person will never look at you your way or answer your phone calls again. So
Yeah.
I've been one of those people that's been overly careful, and I'm in sales. And so I don't pick up the phone unless I envision myself actually getting something done with a phone call as opposed to just doing a telemarketing pitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know,
Busy work.
so
That's what Ross
yeah,
calls
busy
busy
work.
work. Yeah.
And you know, the way that I've described it, having been in sales before, you know, there are people that say, well, here's your script, here's your list, you know, get on the phone and, you know, just call and say this 100 times today, and you're going to get 5 people who, you know, let you set the appointment,
Yeah.
you know, and that's brain damage to me. But, you know, it's one method to go about creating something, depending on what it is that you want. But um, I don't know. Life to me is not like a sales thing where or telemarketing more so. It's deciding, really getting really clear about what it is that you want to have you want to have in your life, and then allowing the universe to show you the pathways and where to be able to go down. And you just need to be very, very aware of exactly what it is that you want and what it's going to feel and look like and taste like and smell like when you get there. And that stuff's going to just show up. It's going to show up, and then you just got to follow those clues. You can't deny the stuff that comes at you like magic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you kind of hit on what we talked about on Thursday is, you know, the mentality that a lot of people have of just throwing as much mud up against the wall to see what's going to stick. And by doing that, you know, that's a lot of mud. And so that's, you know, you can't stay unless all that mud is still taking you in the actual direction that you're going. It's very hard to for the mind to actually focus and project the outcome or the energy, you know, towards that. It's, because it kind of comes to that point of where um, people that we think in too much generality, and where it's like, well, you know, those who say, well, my goal is to be rich or wealthy or whatever. Oh, okay. Well, what is that?
Well, the other thing is on that topic, a lot of what we do as human beings, our thought patterns and everything else, we behaviorally program ourselves, and we let the environment behaviorally program us. And the strength in, you know, transformation and going somewhere is to understand your patterns of behavior and then change your patterns of behavior. And we're talking, I know a lot with people about changing your patterns,
Mhm.
think good thoughts, be in a rampage of appreciation about what you already have in life. Gratitude's a big part of that.
Right.
Um, and if you believe that taking massive action and having a whole bunch of mud on the wall or collateral damage is the pathway in order to get where you want to go, then you've just behaviorally patterned your life and your idea that you have to create a whole bunch of muck in order to be able to get to the good stuff. And that's just your opinion, man. To quote the Big Lebowski or the movie. Yeah, it's a pattern of behavior, and after a while, that becomes exhausting. You feel like you got to crawl through the mud in order to be able to get to the good stuff, and that's just really not
It's
the
a
truth
belief
of it.
system, right? I think it's a belief system that's been embedded into us,
Right.
um, and ingrained from the model of right from the schooling, and maybe even even before you get to school, of hard work pays off. Well, yeah, no, there's times when hard work, but it doesn't always have to be hard work,
No,
right?
I don't
There,
think
there,
so
there
either.
is a reality where things can flow smoothly, easily, and effortlessly. There is one like that, right? And we tap into it from time to time, in a variety of different ways. And the thing you're talking about, Michael, as far as not getting on the phone and doing the calls for the sake of doing the calls, and those kinds of things. Well, the reason that doesn't work is because when you're doing that, you're not really, or you're forcing what we call, and we talked about, and it's coming out more and more in these calls. So I'm thinking we're going to really do a full on session on them. Is what we call sync portals, right? So there's in the infinity matrix, we have sync holes which drain and suck your energy, and then sync portals, which are more of, it's when, well, let's break synchronicity, right? Synchronicity, Carl Jung defines as meaning coincidences, as two or more events are seemingly unrelated, but somehow connected in, and he says, a spooky or metaphysical way. I don't know if it's necessarily spooky, but I think, again, that's a perception.
Well, look at the time that he said that, though. Look at the age.
Sure, but people still take it as that, right? And I think we need to step out of the time frame of when it was said. um and so, and then portal is a gateway, a doorway, or entrance, that's usually large and imposing, so it's obvious, right? So sync portals are, in the infinity matrix, are events and circumstances that seem like glitches in the matrix of reality. But what they are is they're actually vibrational vortexes, or vortices. How do you say that? I think it's vortices,
Portuguese.
that become in perfect alignment with the creator within, so that it guides you to effortlessly get into a space of artfully designing your reality, right? And so sync portals, and we've kind of formulated 9 different sync portals that you can look for and start to become aware of, to start to use them as guidelines, so that you can be more in synchronicity, and use all the different ways. And maybe there's more, but there's 9 that we come up with, that it's they're really, really good cues for us to look for and observe and to tune into, to help to guide us along that, so that when you're in alignment with one of the nine or a few of the nine, it tells you to make that phone call. And so you know that then doing that phone call, there's something that shifted to let you know that this is the right energy vortex or the energy frequency for you to get the most out of those phone calls, instead of just doing it because someone says to do it between 9 and 10 a.m.
Mhm.
Right? But if if you're on your way to work, and this is an example of one of the sync portals, and we talk about it, and we talk about potentially doing it as a live stream. But the more I think about it, I think we're actually going to do it as, and I haven't told Ross this yet, but I think we're going to do it as a master class, because there's so much to it and so many cool components to it, that we're actually going to do it as a master class in a series of master classes, right, in the next 12 months. And so, so let's say, for example, you're driving to work, and on the way to work, you maybe you never really listen to the radio, and you decide, let me just pop the radio on. You throw the radio on, and the radio comes on, and a song comes on, and the song starts to sing about, there's messages in there or words in there that trigger your attention and awareness, that start to talk about being on the phone, calling someone you care about, whatever, right? And most people would just kind of let that go. But if you're in tune with the sync portals, you'll start to say, something's different about that, because I thought about when I left the house, I thought about how many calls I need to make today, and now that calls are, and so you start to listen. So there's these things that start to align up in the matrix, right? And you go, that's just a coincidence. And then you turn it off, and then you get to work, and the first thing someone says is, hey, I had this call with this person this morning, and this happened, and this happened, and this whole thing, and you go, okay, and so these things start to make you go, and they start to become these obvious portals of reality to say, hey, this is somewhere you need to step into at this moment, right? And then you start to live your life off synchronicity. And that's a powerful, powerful place to be. In fact, some people say synchronicity is the language of the gods. Right? So what so the reason you're finding that those events or those circumstances seem forced, and they're not getting results, and you don't feel authentic with it is because they're not. It's because they're not in alignment with the creator within.
You know what I love about this the whole subject is that each one of us is absolutely has our own language when it comes to being spoken to by the universe, from the universe. And you find a lot of people online that are promoting, well, do this, this is the magic, this is the way you make it happen, as if there's a methodology or a means or a message you should listen to that's the same for everybody, and it's just
Yeah,
not that way.
absolutely.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the mystery and the magic of it.
Yeah.
So Michael, there's a post that I put up on the group page the day before yesterday, Thursday, and kind of go back to that and take a look at it, and how uh, you'll see how that kind of applies to what we're discussing. It's from a physics page where they take a series of balls, they pull them back, and then they go back and forth. And all of a sudden, they're nice and uniformed, and all of a sudden, it turns to chaos and such. And they ultimately will realign, and then all this beautiful pattern. And it's a really, really powerful demonstration, because you can take that as well, which goes exactly with what Gary's saying, And you can take that in this particular topic of making calls and things like that, because when you're first starting out, you have this thought pattern and such, which is all nice in alignment. And then all of a sudden it just turns into chaos. You for whatever reason, it just turns into chaos. And then all of a sudden, there's a special time when all of a sudden things just start to line up into this beautiful pattern. And that's when you just hit a sync portal. And you're just like, oh, now's the time, because everything just lined up and you feel it.
Yeah.
You just feel that, okay, this is now everything is lined up. I'm in the right space. I'm in alignment with, with the universe. I'm in alignment with the people that I am going to attempt to have a conversation with. And it's, there, you have times like that. I mean, you can, learn it. You can ultimately learn, things like subjective influence, which is where you're actually having a conversation with them the night before, and they don't know it. There's lots of different techniques when it comes to, working with the energies that are out there, and applying them to everyday business life. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good insights there, Michael. Thanks for that. And
Very nice.
yeah, I remember the first time you came on. You waited like 40 freaking minutes before you spoke up. And then we spoke for another hour.
Awesome, Dee.
Think, so Monica, looks like you have something to say.
No, I was going to say that for me, this was like a sync because it's been a while since I wanted to come inside this group.
Nice.
For some reason, couldn't. So I said, well, maybe this weekend. So everything started aligning up. And this morning, I look at my watch and I say 8 a.m. Vancouver. So that means it's 10 o'clock my time.
Exactly.
A few days ago, Thursday or Friday or yesterday, I was trying to find the link that you mentioned on the Thursdays
Yeah.
talk and had never able to connect with that. So everything happened like this morning. So
Hey.
So
that's a portal.
Would you guys mind if I share a story with you about
Sure.
some synchronicity? And next week I'll show up presentable so that you'll be able to see me on video.
Okay.
But
Hey, neither Jared.
We'll just imagine this Greek god.
Michael, all you gotta do is put a shirt on. That's all.
Greek god in a gray robe with messy hair. I've been interestingly leading my life of recent here by not committing to things that I know that are going to lock me into something that I know that I don't want. And it seems odd, but I'm in my later years, 60 years old, but I still kind of feel and operate like I'm in my 40s, I think. But I'm not married, don't have kids. And so I can do some things that some people may not be able to line up and do. So I bought a trailer this last year, went to Arizona over the winter. It was a time that I thought, you know what, we've been doing most of the things by phone. I'm a real estate agent. I'm gonna, I can send people to do some things for me in Denver, or if necessary, I can fly back to Denver from Arizona, right? So I did that, and then I came back, and I haven't committed to another place to live. I kind of want to buy, but something very specific. And inside of all my navigations, then a friend of mine out of the blue, I posted something like on an Evergreen Facebook page for Evergreen, Colorado. It's a little town up in the mountains, not far out of Denver. And I said, hey, Evergreeners, I'm looking for a house up in Evergreen or in Denver let me know if anybody's got something coming up, or I just wanted to put it out there so people could act on it, give me some information back. And somebody said, hey, I don't know you, but you're on this Evergreen Facebook page, and I see a lot of friends that that I know, and I'm going away for 3 weeks, and I need somebody to watch my house and take care of my cat and dog. And it was perfect timing for this little 1-bedroom apartment that I took on a month-to-month basis down in Denver. So that's where I'm at now, up in Evergreen, hanging out. The other thing that I know that I've been asking for a long time, because I'm getting tired of the group of friends that I have and the people that I hang out with and associate regularly with in Denver, is that I wanted somebody who could keep up with me, as far as having these sorts of inspiring, creative conversations about um, authenticity and creating in life and moving forward, and I mean, like this group has, like we're in this group having these conversations, and so I know that it's been sitting in the vortex for a while. This thought is that I want to surround myself with people who are having these sorts of conversations, and going down these rabbit holes, and so the other day, I look on Facebook and I'm heading somewhere, and I see that this Evergreen Facebook group, this woman got a hummingbird caught in her house, and she put it on the Facebook thing, and she's new to town. And I just glimpsed at it, but I didn't have time in the day to uh, offer any guidance or assistance. And a whole bunch of people were piping in to try to help her, figure out how to get the bird down from this really high windows that she's got in this mountain house. And then a little bit later in the afternoon, I get a call from the guy who owns the house that I'm house sitting at. And he said, hey, that Volvo that's parked in the yard, he said that belongs to a guy named Raul, who's a window cleaner. And Raul got a call from a woman in Evergreen today saying that she needs a window cleaner to come out because they've got high ladders and can help her with this bird. And I said, don't tell me it's a hummingbird, right? And he said, yeah, how'd you know? And I'd seen the post. So he said that Raul calls him for these types of things. And of course, he's not around. The guy whose house I'm house sitting, he's in Maine. And so he said, normally I would, maybe help a neighbor out and go do these types of things. That's what I do. And he says, you're under no obligation, to help out in any way. But here's her name, and here's her address, and here's a phone number, if you want to. And I thought, man, this is the universe dropping this right smack in my lap.
Man, I'm hearing so many sync portals, man. Holy cows.
And and I kind of knew this. I mean, this was one that hit me upside the head really big. It was, and I've also just found this piece up here in Evergreen outside of Denver. I go in every 2 or 3 days or something like that in order to handle some real estate stuff or run some errands. But I found that I'm really getting quiet up here, and with the nature, and just not have all these distractions and things going on. And I'm really just watching for and listening for the signs to show up. Or it's just peaceful. Let's put it that way. But in the midst of being peaceful, this stuff is showing, these messages. So I call this number, and she answers the phone, and she said, are you the bird rescuer? Right away, she said to me on the phone. And I laughed, and I said, oh my gosh, you won't, we'll talk about this, but this is crazy. Yes, there is a ladder on the side of the house here, and I'm close by in Evergreen Meadows. And she said, all right, I'm going to get off the phone here with this other person, and so I'm ready when you're here. And it turns out that this woman is a transformational speaker, world renowned, who trained under Tony Robbins.
Wow.
And I mean, trained in all the distinctions, and also very spiritual as well. So, I mean, a new friend just kind of dropped in out of nowhere, and she is like a powerhouse. Like, she renamed her, I mean, on Facebook, her last name, she renamed I Am, as in the great I Am. And she's a powerhouse. it's just kind of crazy. I'm not looking for a relationship necessarily. I'm looking for people that I can be around on a regular basis who are um, who will participate and want to be a participant in conversations about what's possible, you know, as opposed to what already is and what has been.
You
Yeah,
know,
and that's really why Ross and I really decided to, start the group and these calls, and because we want to collect and have this hub where those types of people want to be and want to conglomerate and connect and communicate, be it by text, be it by calls like this, or messaging and whatever, right? So that's really what our intention is. And there's no coincidence that you showed up on these calls, as you have, so as
right.
any of you have, right?
And you know what I hear from this, though, Michael, is the fact that what you did is you consciously quieted the world around you so you could hear and see these messages which were probably already there,
Yeah.
but there just wasn't so much noise in the world. And that's where we talk about this at length, where there is so much noise and so much distraction. And as soon as we can just back up just a little bit, take a step back and just quiet things down, all of a sudden you're like, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Oh my God, this is happening. This is happening. I mean, this is so cool. I mean, this is what it's all about. And you're just making it happen for yourself.
I've also committed to a ton of what goes on in my life as far as career, doing so inside of ease and grace, you know, not forcing anything.
Right.
That's still a work in progress. Real estate can be kind of finicky. I got to constantly revise and ask for the right types of people to work with as buyers and sellers, because I've had some nightmare types of stories where I'm capable and oh man, I can really be the martyr when it comes to putting myself in the space of being the real estate agent that nobody else can be, just because I can take so much of the muck.
Have you ever
And
fired a client, Michael?
uh,
Have you ever fired a client that you've had and just said, you know what, this just isn't working?
yeah, I have. And um, most of the time, no. But of recent here, there was a friend of mine, and I say this about her every once in a while, but she's sort of proven that she's out there a little bit. I say that she's a little bit batshit, you know? And, she's a friend of a friend. I've known her for years. And she had this question about selling her property. And I just knew that if I get in the middle of this, it's just not going to go the right way. And I'm gonna force something in order to be able to make sure she comes out of it okay. But things are not stacked up for me to have a very good time and probably lose sleep over working with this client. So I just told her, you know, that she was probably on the right track with some of the people that she talked with, and it felt great.
Mm-hmm.
Just to not have that one sitting there. And so uh, I've also got some other ones that have shown up, and I don't pay much attention to them. But no, for the most part, the right ones are showing up.
Cool. Good for you.
That's awesome.
And of course, for me, I mean, um, you know, I just still have to make a living, and I want to. I'm trying to be really intentional about how that is, because you know, a person can sell um, 5 houses that are 300,000, or you can sell one house that's 1.5 million, and you get the same commission, right? And so um, I have, over the past couple 3 years, moved my average sale way up. But of course, Denver's getting more expensive. And it's kind of gone crazy where everybody's at in the country. But real estate is, after the year of COVID and everybody making these moves, and there being less inventory than there is buyers in the marketplace.
Sure.
It's really created this crazy thing where real estate prices have gone up in a lot of places.
Well, I'm in
Yeah.
Seattle.
Oh.
It's absolutely insane here, so I totally get that.
There you go. That's number one where that's happening.
It is.
Yeah.
Joy, oh joy. Yeah.
Right. I mean, all the other the money that I make and what I do for a living is only one thing. Um,
Good.
there's many others, but um, it is something that I do participate in and will continue to participate in. I just want to have fun and do well and do it with ease and grace.
I
And
think
that's what
we
I'm
all
putting.
kind of, at the core, that's what we want. We want things to be done in grace, right? And a lot of what we talk about, a lot of what we teach is about aligning with that true core self, the spiritual evolving life force. And in doing that, there's a lot of pieces to it. There's a lot of components, and that's why we have 43 live streams so far, because we cover all the different ways that you could get more in alignment with that, more in tune with that, more in sync with that. um, and the thing that that can interfere with you becoming aware of the sync portals is we talked about some of the sinkholes in last week's stream, but some of the things can interfere with sync portals is whether you're in alignment with nature. What's your relationship with nature? What's your relationship with the elements that create our reality? And in the masterclass that I'm formulating in my head for sync portals, the part of that is going to be looking at how do we purify our connection with the five elements. How do we purify our connection with that so that we can be clear on what's a sync portal and what's a sync hole, and to distinguish the two, and to navigate this reality that we call the matrix, right? And because if you guys all look at how you ended up at this call or in our group, if you look at the events preceding that, you're going to see there was synchronicities that happened in a variety of different ways. All right, synchronicities, and maybe you had dreams that triggered something, and so that gave you a message or inspiration, or maybe there was an intuition or premonition of something happening that kind of led you to these things. Maybe it was a sequence of timed events that kind of fell into alignment, gave the domino effect. There's all these different things that could have happened that had to happen for you to show up when you showed up. Right? It's like Monica, the timing for you to be here for this message. There's a reason for you to be here to hear it this way, right? As opposed to listening to it, as we're streaming on the page, because it's a different energy being on the call here than it is watching it on the stream.
Hey, so not to interrupt a little bit, we're going to need somebody to turn down your volume on your computer. Getting a lot of feedback. I'm listening to
Yeah,
Gary.
someone's giving us a little bit of echo. Maybe just got on speaker or something.
Yeah,
I'll tell you the way to make that, to fix that is one of two things. Until you're ready to speak, maybe put yourself on mute. Or if you have some headset little things that you can put in so that you're listening to the audio through your headset and using your speaker.
Yes,
I'll even check mine.
I noticed it a little bit too earlier.
Yeah, it's kind of growing. That's why I said something.
So I think that it's if we look at what were those events that led you to where you are for the experience you're having, whether it's this or work or and this again goes for the the happy manifestations we have and the not so happy ones. Okay. I'm not biased to it be synchronicity being one side of it. Synchronicity can put you in the crap hole too, right? If the synchronicity is letting you know of potential problems and challenges, and you continue to go through those synchronicity holes, then that's what you end up with, right? We call them sinkholes, as opposed to portals. But the when you clean up your mind, when you clean up your connections, when you clean up your relationship with the elements of reality, right? With air, with water, with all the elements. If you clear up that relationship with that, then you become more in tune with what reality is communicating to you. Hence the reason they call it the language of the gods, right? So yeah, so it's I know we've been talking about in the last few weeks, and I've been kind of humming and hawing because I know that's a big topic, and no way we're covering it in an hour. And it's good to kind of talk some elements of it, and to kind of you know some of the concepts around it, but to actually do it justice, I think we need to kind of go through the definitions, the explanations, the why they happen, how they happen, and how you can actually start to create them, or maybe not create, but be more in tune with when they're occurring.
Yeah, and I mean, and Gary, I mean, it might be something, we're talking about reformatting the live streams anyhow.
Yeah.
So just to kind of throw this out to you guys, is that what we're thinking is our 1 year anniversary is coming up, amazingly, and that we at that moment we're probably thinking about starting to where a month of live streams is going to be kind of like a part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, so that we can take a complicated subject and really delve deep into it. And so if the first Thursdays, this is going to be part 1 of sinkholes, just throwing it out there. And then this is, then part 2 is going to be sink portals, and part 3 is, quieting the world around you so that you can, be aware that these are here. Because synchronicity is just it's a communication. It's the universe communicating with you. But if you are going about your day like this, like this, like this, you're not going to see, hear, or communicate with what is being communicated back to you. And so just things to think about. But it's a huge topic.
Yeah. So Jolene says, wow, 1 year already. Yeah, Jolene, it's actually October 1st we started last year, our streams and the group. So we're creeping up on it. We're getting there.
Can I ask something, Ross and Gary?
Yeah.
All right. See, like many of us, we are in the journey. I talked to a friend today and gave me some idea. The friend said that, he's very busy, and, it's like, you say, oh, Jean, because you are so successful, you have your business and you can talk about all this and going into your master creation and whatever, because you're already there. Your journey is there. But let's say, for example, for someone, they are struggling to make ends meet, to pay their bills, to put food on the table, and they are there, but they have a lot of issues that they are meeting, especially in Malaysia now because of the lockdown, and many issues, and they don't have time. But I felt that it's because of these issues, and if you open up your mind towards towards what we are all sharing here, and they could actually find better answers and give better definitions to the situation by redefining themselves. But then you see people like that, I mean, along this category, and there are many, because they're so tied down to their everyday routine,
Right.
and to just put food on the table, or to pay their bills and children's bills, and whatever, they couldn't pull themselves out to this level. So this is a challenge to, like, both of you could think. Like, for many of us, we are already in the process that we want to learn more and we are going there. So it's easy for us to sort of sync with all of you and join this group and get the and get more ha-has every time.
Yeah.
But for those who are way out, who are trying to make ends meet, and they are in need of you actually, because it's just that they can't open up their mind to it.
So,
I mean,
so here's how that works, though, because the reality is we're and this is a hard pill to swallow sometimes when you get into the personal development realm, and I know I went through it for many years, and most people I speak to go through it as well. Is when you start to see the light, you want to show everybody the light, right? But not everybody wants to look at the light. It's
True.
and so and so by you putting that energy and that effort to trying to show them the light, it drains you start to end up in a sinkhole instead of sink portals. So there's ways to do that, and part of what we've done, I believe, Gene, is kind of done that. We've created in sync portals. One of the portals we talk about is called intentional sync portal. An intentional sync portal is where we set up certain events to intentionally maximize the synchronicity of events, right? So what Ross and I did was we felt that, okay, well, the way that we can maximize the synchronicity of people getting exposed to what we do is to go to a platform where it spreads out to a variety of different people, a variety of different ways, and a variety of different options. So it catches their eye, catches their attention. The graphics that we create are they trigger different things. We're very intentional in the graphics we create for each stream to trigger different things in the subconscious mind. So if someone glances at it and they catch a whim of it, it triggers something. And when they're ready, that will come to light for them, as opposed to us bringing them to the light. Right. And so the way that you can participate, and anybody that's listening can participate in that process, is to intentionally, leave, a business card with the group address on it. So if someone goes, oh, what is, let me check that out, or share it on your page, or those kinds of things start to create these what we call intentional portals, that are ones that we're helping to create more intentional synchronicity around us, not necessarily for ourselves, but for others.
It's kind of like when the everything that we do, all the videos that we do, we're monitoring, which is more popular and just like that. And and we see that there's very particular subject matter that is really, really popular, and that is, that is not done on purpose initially. It's like, well, this is information that we feel, you know, we should get out there.
Yeah, we're tapping into our synchronicities, right? Things that go, oh, that's coming up for us enough, then that must mean something we need to bring to the group.
Exactly. And so then, I mean, we've had, oh my gosh, we've some of our live streams have just gone viral, and we're just like, what the heck just happened? And then we kind of then we sit down. We have a meeting every Friday, and we're like, okay, so yesterday or this one 2 weeks ago. I mean, look at the numbers on this. There's something here. Okay, this is information that is really, really resonating with people. And then you'll have other live streams that don't resonate as much. It's like, okay, great, that's not a problem. It's still information that needs to be out. But what that does, though, is that's why there's always so different, is because when the student is ready, the information will come. They're more likely to resonate with it at that particular time. It's very synchronistic for them, and that's kind of how our process works. And then we look and we're like, well, we should do more of these, because this is at this particular moment in time what is the energy that's being sent out for us to answer.
Yeah.
And so, like, for example, if you have somebody who is, um, well, we could use any example that was been talked about today, but you have somebody who is having issues with trying to get um, trying to create that synchronicity. Where they're struggling. It's like, I keep putting it out and I keep putting it out, I keep putting it out. It's like, you know what? Maybe you should just listen to this live stream number 32. You should just listen to this. This is about the 5G network. This is where they talk about, you're sending something out, but maybe it's not the message you think you're sending out. And then let it go from there. And that's part of the reason that we've developed these programs, the way that they've been, that is that, well, this is going to catch this person's eye because it's time. They need this. While at the same time, they don't maybe need this. So, we have all these different people grabbing onto these different topics because that's what's prominent in their mind. They're like, I need to learn this. This feels very synchronistic with me for my life at this moment.
Yeah, and as much as, Gene, I think that, again, the wanting to show the light, as much as we think that people want to come out of their crap, many times they don't.
They're comfortable.
Right? That's the reality that they've chosen to experience, and they've chosen to go down. And so all we can do is lay in place, if we're coming from a place, especially if they're people we care about, and the closer they are, the more this becomes the issue, where you want to kind of mention it in conversation, or you want to kind of tag them on something, or just kind of ring a bell for them, so to speak, right? To kind of make them just maybe pay a little bit of attention and then maybe go down that path. But it's still up to them. And I think it's a tricky, really slippery slope if you take responsibility for whether someone sees that light or not. And can bring you down into darkness just as quickly.
So, Gene, do you know that there's a game that's been it's been around for a long time? It's called Jenga. Are you familiar with that game?
No.
Anybody here? Just raise your hand. Yes or no?
Yep.
Okay. There's a game called Jenga, and I'm been working this out in my head and such. Well, what it is that you get a pile of blocks, wooden blocks, and they're stacked on top of each other. And so the whole thing can be very, very tall. And each player reaches in and pulls out a particular block without having the tower tumble. Okay. So think of it like this. So you have all these blocks that are all like this. And each of those blocks is a thought or a belief that a person has. Okay. So let's say you have at the relatively at the very bottom, you have a core belief. This is what is running their life and such. And you start to tug on that core belief. Okay. Well, it's holding up the whole freaking tower.
And they get nervous and they want to go, don't pull.
Exactly. So when you see this tower going like this is their thought process inside going, no, my life is all based on that one block.
That's a great metaphor, Russ.
And and I'm working it out, but it's going to be something for our live events because you can get these giant ones.
Yeah.
And but their whole life, okay, is based on that one block. And so what you're doing in many cases, not you, but we at the same time we're tugging on that block, and they're just like, no. Okay. And what Gary and I do, we're like, okay, well, how about we start with this block over here instead? You'd be more comfortable? Yeah, I'm more comfortable. Okay, we just kind of pull this one out. Like, see?
Yeah. It becomes less obvious, right? So it's the sneaky way of doing it. It's the back door.
Okay, so we're just kind of pulling these out. But when we go too fast, too hard in the very, very beginning, and we're tugging at that one down there, okay, which, as I said, is connected to all the other ones in their mind. Oh, this is all in their mind. There is no physical harm that is coming to their body, but the reactions that we can get is as if they're defending, they're ready to hit you because they feel they're having this visceral reaction of protection. And so you're just kind of, okay, well, we're just going to kind of tug on this just a little bit and see what happens. Okay, so that you're not ready for that one, so we're going to move up to this one over here. Okay, and when we try too much too fast, then we basically, the door's no longer open. They're going to, oh no, that was way too much for me, and they just slam that door, and they're never going to open that particular door of growth again, or it's going to be very, very difficult. So that's how we kind of look at that, is where you want to help them and you know that they need it, but we in our way of trying to help, we're just like, yeah, they weren't ready for that. So that's where it's kind of like, let's see what happens. Test the water. Like, oh, okay, so you're not quite ready for that. Let's start up here instead. And that's kind of what the live streams are.
A challenge, though, because we all know that the huge transformation takes place in life when somebody can pull the rug completely out underneath you. And when I say that, it's more like your paradigm gets blown away if somehow you can talk people over a threshold that they hadn't been willing to go over before. Mm-hmm. And in order to be able to create something different in life. Mm-hmm. And you can't put anything at risk. I mean, you can't let somebody stand at the edge of a cliff and go, no, just jump. I mean, if you believe it enough, you'll fly. That's not. So I think that's the type of holding back. But mm-hmm. But by some token, you can't start too small too. I don't think that what the human race needs, nor anybody really wants, is small incremental changes that'll change our lives in the next 30 years if we just keep it up little by little. That we want
for each individual, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for each individual, yeah. But I mean, breakthroughs are what create new.
See, though, that they're responding to it, it means that they're ready. Mm-hmm. It means they are just absolutely ready for this. They're sick and tired, or they're frustrated or whatever with the way things are going, and they are just mentally ready.
Mm-hmm. I think that when people are mentally ready, or when something really terrible happens in their life, either a big illness, an accident, or they lose somebody, is when they start kind of like something, there must be something out there different. And until the person is not ready, it won't change a thing. Until it doesn't have the opportunity to see that they gain more changing a core belief than keeping it, they won't make the change.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about on
Thursday. Tell them, and they can go to therapy, but they won't change.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about on Thursday is, you got to reevaluate your evolution, and something happens to make you reevaluate that. And then you're in a place to do things in your reality to shift, right? And it's what we call permission slip. So getting the right mentality means you're giving yourself a permission slip to make that change.
Yes, I understand all of you, what you're saying. And, when we give ourselves permission slip, we are already almost there to change. Yeah. I'm talking about people who needs the change, but because they are so busy in their everyday, putting food on the table, they feel that they don't have the luxury like you, who is most successful. I mean, that's what they think, that you are more successful, that you can afford the time to do these changes. Yeah. But in fact, these people, I mean, there are many, I just give you an example of a person, and there are many in this layer who actually need the permission more than us, because we already know we are there. We don't need permission. We already give ourselves
Yeah.
permission to walk in. But these are the people who are actually making ends meet and struggling from hand to food or whatever. Uh, these are the people who actually need more of what we are talking about, because
100%
if
agree.
they can just put the belief in themselves and change their mindset, they can open up to much more.
Yep.
But it's that they feel that they are not at the level to be there because they are still making ends meet. It is how should I put it? It's like uh they need it, but yet they think they don't need it.
So, so what that comes to, Gene, though, so what that comes to, right? So, and I hear you, and I 100% agree that they need it. But here's the thing, though, right? One of our upcoming streams is going to talk about tolerance and its impact on the reality we have. So, as human beings, we start to develop certain levels of tolerance for what we're going to accept as our reality. And over time you can build up that tolerance to deal with and be okay with more crap in your life, right? The more you refine your tolerance for the crap you have in your life, the more it says, oh no, I got to do something about it now, as opposed to, well, I'm gonna find an excuse to make this my reality, and they kind of make it a part of, make it okay to be in their reality. When you start to say, no, I'm not tolerating that level of discomfort anymore, so that means I've got to make a change right now. Those people, unless they redefine or understand that they don't want to tolerate that level of existence anymore, they're always going to be there. So there's not really a whole lot we can do for them, other than, like I said, other than seeding the idea and doing these intentional sync portals to kind of make them see that something else is possible. Because what you're saying is, we have 43 hours, 43 1-hour segments that are free and available, and each and every one of them, I believe, is powerful enough to start to make someone take a shift. If they are not willing to take an hour of their life to listen, and some of them are not even a full hour, an hour of their life to put towards looking at a potential, just even window shopping, window shopping the potential realities, right? And spend that time for that 1 hour, then their tolerance level is not come to its peak yet to want to make a change.
And I
because
had
And
they,
I had somebody who contacted me and had all these questions. They contacted me on Messenger and had all these questions, and I'm like, okay, well, this is all valid and such. And there was some frustration in their tone. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, Gary, it's just amazing because I said, well, there's over 50 hours worth of learning and lessons that are available for free on our YouTube channel and such like that.
In
And
variety of places, yeah.
yeah, in a variety of places. And I'm like, so start there and then we'll go from there. And 2 days later, this person contacted me again and with more questions. And I'm like, so I kind of responded back. And but then I ended with, have you, because I could tell from the tone, I'm like, have you even looked at any of this information that I said is out there available? Because their first complaint was that, well, everybody charges things and they're just, these free things are just big commercials. I'm like, ours are not.
Absolutely.
Um, and so again, I kind of stopped this conversation saying, listen, I pointed you in the right direction. If you can't or don't want to take advantage of that, to there's a point where it's like you have to help yourself first. You have to, that need, that want, that desire has to be there and such. And generally, if they don't, it means that as Gary said, their tolerance is way high. And to a certain degree, it's just like, the pain level isn't high enough for him yet.
Yeah, which is their tolerance, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So think of this, think of their tolerance. That's where I'm going, is that think of their tolerance as a pain level. Okay. You know, the human condition is that, you know, we generally, as a species, will not make change until the pain is greater. It's generally how we work. Oh, I can take it a little bit more. I can take it a little bit more. I can take it a little bit more. Oh no, this is too much. Now I need to change, which is what Gary just said. And this is both in physical pain and mental pain, and financial pain, and health pain, and you know, I mean, there's all these.
Love pain.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yes, love pain. Yes,
You know, exactly. I mean, it's
that's
different for
pain.
everybody, but that
He's the worst.
you know, and what, you know, so what you've already discovered is that, well, yeah, but if I preempt the pain, which is what you're doing now, you're doing that right now, you're preempting maybe something for the future because you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, I've already been there, so I'm going to preempt it. I'm going to get myself, so I'm going to get myself to where I can see that, I can kind of predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
With the knowledge that I'm taking in and the techniques that I'm taking in.
Yeah.
So I can
what we
stay
call a premonition sync, where you're actually having a premonition of
exactly. I can stay in my choice convergence point, and I can monitor all of this. I can watch the storm around me and such, and choose if I need to enter at a certain point or whatever. But the people that you're talking about are in that storm. They're caught up in that storm. And
Ross, I think it's also valid for people to kind of like be in that sleep mode that Jane mentions, because they are also in their evolution.
correct.
Right?
Mhm.
And this is part of what life is also, no?
Partly, yes.
Black and white, light and dark. And it has to be somehow like equilibrium
Mhm.
in those energies. So I think we're always going to find people who are in that sleep mode. And well, that's my belief.
Yeah.
That if you yourself are vibrating high, somehow all your environment gets a little bit off,
Mhm.
right? And you're helping that way by being in alignment with yourself.
Which is actually our next week's stream, which is you know, the mirror or mirror of reality, right? You know, who you know, mirror on the wall, who's the happiest of them all? It's, you know, looking at that reflection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Years ago, I used to, you know, every vacation that I took, I went to a personal development seminar of some sort. Okay. And I mean, every vacation I took, I didn't go to Hawaii. I didn't go here. I just went to a seminar and such. And people like, well, that's kind of a weird way to spend your vacation. I'm like,
And spend your money.
Right.
exactly. But then at the same time, they would say, well, you know, how are you so successful? How are you so together? And I says, it's all in the way that I spend my vacations. You know, I said, so you remember when I'm talking about this? You know, I mean, I would take time off for myself as well, you know, but most of my vacation time was spent on bettering myself and my wife as well. And because I always wanted to preempt the future. Okay, as I'm writing my own story. And, you know, but in order for me uh, uh, to get the knowledge that I believe I needed, okay, and the techniques and the training, etc., I said I needed to take this time and spend this type of money to go and do this so that I can better, you know, control and such, or guide myself and not be, you know, back and forth, you know, going this squiggly old line. I'd like to straighten that out a little bit, And but there's that particular mindset where and we talked about this, I don't remember what show it was, but you have your growth mindset where you want to expand and grow and be better and evolve and such, and then you have a set mindset. It's just like, this is just the way it is. I can't change anything. And there's that, okay, well, where are you at? I'm not saying that one can't change, but if that's where a person is at any given time, if somebody is in that set mind, where they're just like, no, this is the way it is. It's black and white, period. And we or you or somebody's approaching them and saying, you can do this and you can do this. They're just, no, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. Well, yeah, but are you happy? I'm comfortable. Okay. But then
Right.
something can happen in their life and such, and that tolerance level, so they're at that tolerance level, and now that pain level is beyond their tolerance and such, and like, you know what? They think back to that conversation they had with you. They're just like, maybe I should start looking, expanding my horizon. Maybe I should start looking at some different ideas.
And Gene, we do have, we do have intentions of spreading out more for sure and getting out to more people in a variety of different ways. And we've been working in the last year, working on different pieces of how we do that. But we've been kind of, for lack of a better word, we've been at the mercy of society not allowing us to go out and do live events, which is what we had intentions to do. And so we choose to do the virtual events and to do that. And then just to play with what's going on in the reality around us and how everybody else is playing the reality and kind of working with that. So, I think that a big part of it for us is trusting that we're reaching the people we need to reach when we need to reach them. And the more we do that, and the more we get the message out, and the more we have people like you who've done our 7-day, which we've renamed The Art of Designing Your Reality, and doing that, having that capacity to be the example, because the way to make someone see the light is to be the example of the light. That's it. Right? Is to be that example of the light. And then they go, hey, what are you doing? Like they said, well, what are you doing, Ross? It's, well, he was example of the light. Right? And that allows him, because if he were to go to them and start to talk to them about the personal growth stuff that he did, they'd be like, I don't know, it's too bright, it's too bright. It's yeah, I don't look, it's like a vampire. And
Barry,
so, and so by being the example and having more people be the example around those people who need to see that light, that's the way we do it. And that's why we do this. We have this opportunity to grow the global reach that we do. And we're constantly looking at ways that we can kind of package the material that we do in a variety of different ways so different people can get it, while also making sure we take care of our realities as well, right? So because we've got lives and businesses and stuff that we run as well. So so doing all of those pieces, it's we always want to do more. We always want to, definitely, we'd love it if there was 100 people on this call. I don't know how we'd have a conversation, but that'd be amazing. Right. And, for us to carve out our time to be here, to do this, and it's because we want to have this conversation. There's no, like Ross said, we're not doing this as a sales pitch. It may lead to things in the future, but that's not why we do it. We do it because we want to have these kind of conversations. We want to kind of know what's going on with the people. We want to know what's the things, the topics of interest that kind of go, ooh, that we can do more of that kind of content to get people to see that, oh, there's more people interested in that kind of light shine. So let's do more of that kind of stuff. Right? So with that said, we've run over time, which is a great conversation. We could go longer, but we do have things to go towards and do for our lives too. So I know I've got to check out. I don't know about you, Ross, but
Yeah, pretty much done for
thanks
today.
everybody for showing up today and for participating, communicating. That was awesome. We love
Thank you.
the chat, and
Thank you.
you're
Yeah,
welcome.
Thank
thank
you, Ross.
you.
Thank you, Gary.
I really appreciate your words.
You're welcome. And
Honestly.
so the way that you guys can do it is share the links to your friends and other people that you want to have these kind of communications, and have them come in, have them ask questions, have them kind of be here to poke at what they believe their realities to be, and have us kind of explore and say, hey, let's have that conversation. Is that real? Is that the way things have to be for you? And what if you thought about it this way? And when we have a community of us doing that, then it's harder for them to deny the light.
Yeah. And keep this in mind too. So the way that we have a lot more capabilities on YouTube as far as breaking these into different kinds of segments. And so I'm trying to, because what you said, Gene, really resonates with me. So again, like for example, you have somebody who is trying to understand vibration and getting their sending their message out to the universe and such. And I'm trying to figure out a way that we can break down each of our videos so it's easier for you to kind of go, all right, let me find the one, because there's 50 of them now. Let me find the one that would work best for this person.
Or the segment. So here's the time clip, right? Here's
right, yeah. So that's kind of what we're the direction that we're going with the time clips as well. It's just a matter of trying to figure out the way that will better resonate with those who trying to, like a catalog, okay, or the index of a book. It's just like, okay,
yeah, they're window shopping. Yeah,
I'm going to go down and find, oh, that's the one, and that goes to, oh, that's episode 32. So then you can send them episode 32. So it's like, hey, this reminded me of you. Thought it would help. Again, it's starting with that Jenga piece, maybe at the very top a little bit, and then let them make that decision to go further and further down. So,
But I would say that both, yeah, but I must say that Gary and Ross, both of you, I think this is your purpose in life as well, to actually, share so much, to let people grow, to become their better self,
yes.
and create so much more that they can be and they can become. And I think the way you conceptualize it, as I have said before, and the way you put it in a sequence of through all the episodes, all the sequence makes it very clear. It's full of clarity, because if you follow it, it's full of clarity to become better than you are. Even simple things which I loved until today is the sentences, the definition, because sentences and definition, just change that and you change who you are.
100%.
Redefine yourself. And they are so powerful. And we know about such words, but we don't know that it could relate to us and change that. And those are very powerful that you have been sharing. And I think maybe this could be also your purpose in life, to create much more value in people's life. Yeah, each of us have something to do. For me too, I do other things as well to help others. So in your case, it's this is what, and I think it's very gallant of both of you. Continue to do, yeah. So we will be around.
Thank you, Jean, for your kind words always. Appreciate you all. Thank you for showing up and being here with us. And
Maria, Michael, thank you so very much.
Think about probably translating all your material also in Spanish.
Well, let's talk. Let's talk, Monica. Let's reach out to Ross and I, and we can definitely have that conversation, because Ross and I don't speak it, so it'd be hard for us to do it. But
A big community over here.
Absolutely.
You guys are in Vancouver?
Yes, I'm in Vancouver. Ross is in Seattle.
Maria, we missed you for some time. I didn't see you for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you mean me?
Yes, you, Maria. Yeah.
Last Saturday?
Where you
Yes,
been?
I know. I have no time. I was on vacation. And
Oh,
I was
Voila.
yeah.
but
Good.
today, it's good.
Good to
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Well, I'm here in Veracruz, Mexico, on the other side, on the Gulf.
Nice meeting
Awesome. Yeah, well,
you.
Monica, reach out to us and we'll see if we can
Magic
talk
of
about that, because I'd love
technology.
to have that opportunity to do that too. I think it's a great idea, and yeah, let's see how we can maybe coordinate that in some format.
Yep. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
In a messenger
Yeah,
message.
and Messenger and Facebook.
Bye.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, Lala.
Bye. Nice weekend.
You too.
Nice meeting you all, Maria and Jean.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone again next
You
week.
too.